You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode number 207.1, our daily update on high school, college, and professional sports news in Central Indiana, with a little bit of major national sports news, anything that may be of interest to Central Indiana sports fans.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Thank you so much for making this part of your day. Today is March 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day, and it's a Monday. So it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from Madison Grant High School, producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. Coming up, we have our boys basketball semi-state matchups. The NCAA men's and women's tournament draws were Sunday, including Purdue's men and IU's and Ball State's and Notre Dame's women. And, of course, Indiana Wesleyan's women are moving on to the NAIA Nationals. We have their draw as well. We also have some college baseball and softball from around the area. But first, I'm going to ask you once again to go to YouTube, search Central Indiana Sports Report, and subscribe to our YouTube page, even if you're already subscribed at Amazon, Apple, Spotify, or SoundCloud. Please do us a huge favor. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our page. Also, before we get to Sunday's news, we expect to have full reports for Manchester's win over Tipton and Liberty Christian's win over North Decatur on Tuesday, and semi-state previews Thursday and Friday. We'll also be talking NCAA tournament, men's and women's all week. Plus, we'll have the Colts report with Eli Edwards, the IU report with Grant Schaus, the Pacers report with Mike Rich, and 5 questions that need answers with Will Rutherford, assuming everything goes to plan this week. We start today's daily report with the IHSA boys basketball semi-state matchups, which were announced by the IHSA on Sunday evening. We'll start with Class 4A in the North Semi-State. It will be played at Elkhart at Northside Gym. And the first game will be number 1 Fishers against number 11 South Bend Riley at 10 a.m. Fishers, of course, is the defending Class 4A state champion. They've won 41 games in a row. Riley beat Warsaw in double overtime to advance to the semi-state. They are 22-4 on the season. At noon, it'll be number 7 Crown Point against number 15 Homestead. Crown Point is 22-2. They beat Portage, one of the 2 teams that beat them in the regular season, 68-62 in overtime to win the regional. And number 15 Homestead is 22-5 and has won 16 games in a row. The championship game at the 4A North Semi-State at Elkhart will be played at 8 o'clock. And the 4A South Semi-State will be played at the Newcastle Fieldhouse. Number 10 Lawrence North will take on Terre Haute North in the first game at 10 a.m. Lawrence North is 22-6. Terre Haute North is 22-5. They won their first regional Saturday, coming back from 15 points down against Whiteland for their first regional championship since 1999. And a really good one at noon. It'll be number 6 Jeffersonville against number 16 Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is 22-5, coming off a regional championship win over Brownsburg. It's their 4th regional championship ever. And Jeffersonville has won 15 games in a row. They are 22-5. The championship game at Newcastle will be played at 8 o'clock as well. The Class 3A North Semi-State will be played at the Berry Bowl in Logansport. Game number 1 at 10 a.m. will be 22-5 Mechaniqua against number 2 and reigning champion South Bend St. Joseph. Mechaniqua had won its 2nd regional ever on Saturday, beating Marion 78-72. St. Joseph, of course, was the 3A state runner-up last year. Then at noon, it's 18-7 Delta in their 3rd straight semi-state against 21-8 East Chicago Central. Their last regional championship came in 2007 when E'Twaun Moore led them to a state championship. The championship game Saturday at Logansport is also at 8 o'clock. The 3A South Semi-State will be played at the Southport Fieldhouse. It'll start with number 3 New Pal against number 4 Brownstown. New Pal won their first regional ever last week. Brownstown is the reigning 2A state champions. Then at noon, it'll be number 6 Addicts against number 8 Princeton. Addicts is 21-6. Princeton is 22-5. The championship game at Southport will be played at 8. And in the Class 2A North Semi-State, which will be played at the Wolves Den at Michigan City, it'll be number 1 Wapahani against number 6 Gary 21st Century at 11 a.m. Wapahani is the reigning semi-state champion. Gary 21st Century is coming off a big win over Fort Wayne Lures. Then at 1 o'clock, it's number 4 Manchester against Jimtown. Manchester's 24-2 and beat Tipton to win their second regional championship ever on Saturday. Jimtown is 17-10. They won their first regional championship since winning the 2A state championship in 2004. The semi-state championship at Michigan City will be played at 8:30 on Saturday evening. The Class 2A South Semi-State will be played at Washington's Hatchet House. The first game at 10:30 a.m. will be number 3 Park Heritage against Forest Park. Park Heritage is 25-4, Forest Park 20-6. Game 2 at approximately 12:15. It'll be number 11 Linton Stockton against University. Linton is 22-6, University is 19-9. The championship game at the Hatchet House is scheduled for 7:30. In the Class A South Semi-State at Seymour Scott Gymnasium, it's at 10 a.m. number 2 Hauser against number 4 Orleans. Hauser's 25-3, Orleans 23-4. And in game 2, it's 19-8 Liberty Christian against top-ranked and 25-2 Clay City. That game will be played at noon, with the championship game at Seymour at 8 p.m. And in the Class A North Semi-State at Lafayette Jeff at the Crawley Center, it'll be number 7 Couts against Monroe Central at 10 a.m. Couts is 23-4, Monroe Central 19-6. Then at noon, it's number 3 Clinton Prairie against number 11 Triton. Clinton Prairie's 24-2 and won their first regional championship since 1982 on Saturday in overtime over Lafayette Central Catholic. The championship game at Lafayette Jeff is scheduled for 8 o'clock. The NCAA tournament brackets were announced Sunday as well. Auburn is the number 1 overall seed. Florida, Duke, and Houston are also number 1 seeds. The only Indiana team in the tournament is Purdue. IU was left out of the tournament. Purdue is the number 4 seed in the Midwest. The 22nd ranked Boilermakers will play High Point at 12:40 on Thursday in Providence, Rhode Island on True TV. If Purdue can beat High Point and on Thursday, then 5 seed Clemson or 12 seed McNeese and Providence, they would advance to the regional semifinals in Indianapolis. Michigan won the Big Ten Championship Sunday in Indianapolis, beating Wisconsin 59-53. The Wolverines are the 4 seed in the South and open with UC San Diego Thursday late on TBS. The tournament begins Tuesday with 2 games in the first 4 at Dayton, 16 seeds St. Francis and Alabama State, then 11 seeds North Carolina and San Diego State. On Wednesday, it's 16 seeds Mount St. Mary's against American, followed by 11 seeds Xavier and Texas. Creighton versus Louisville from Lexington will start the second round Thursday a little after noon on CBS. Grant Schaus will break down all the brackets, and we'll have that for you, we believe, on Wednesday morning. The women's draw will have a lot more local interest. IU, Ball State, and Notre Dame all start their tournament runs Friday. Number 9 seed Indiana faces number 8 Utah in Columbia, South Carolina on ESPN2. Ball State is the 12 seed in Waco, Texas, and faces 5 seed Mississippi in the opening round Friday at 6 on ESPNU. And Notre Dame is the number 2 seed and drew Stephen F. Austin. That game will be played in South Bend at 2 Friday on ESPN. Michelle Garman will break down the brackets and preview IU later this week. We're also going to try to put together a Ball State preview as well. The top seeds for the women's tournament are UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, and USC. With the win Friday, IU would face top seed South Carolina in round 2. Indiana Wesleyan's women have advanced to the NAIA National Finals in Sioux City, Iowa. The second-ranked Wildcats, the 2007 and 2013 national champions, are one of 16 teams in Sioux City vying for a national championship. The Wildcats will play 4-seed Georgetown, Kentucky Friday at noon and are in a bracket with Indiana Tech and number 2 seed Freed-Hardeman from Tennessee. The quarterfinals are scheduled for Saturday, and with a win, the Wildcats would play at 7. The national semifinals are Monday, and the national championship game is scheduled for Tuesday. We'll have plenty of IU's women here on the Daily Report, and we'll preview the tournament with the Action Sports Network's Kevin Helfrich later this week. In local college baseball, IU completed a sweep of Ohio State with a 14-3 victory Sunday in Bloomington. The Hoosiers scored 7 runs in the first 2 innings. Devin Taylor scored 3 times, and Corbin Dickerson drove in 4. Dickerson also hit his 10th home run of the season, which is second nationally to Alabama's Justin LeBron's 11. The Hoosiers face 5-14 Evansville Tuesday at 6. Ball State suffered its first MAC loss of the season, 6-3 at home against Toledo Sunday. The loss snapped the Cardinals' 8-game winning streak. They're now 14-6 on the season, 5-1 in the MAC. Sophomore starter Connor Hutchinson threw 6 shutout innings and struck out 4. The Rockets scored all 6 of their runs in the 8th and 9th. Ball State goes to Indy Tuesday to face 16-7 Butler. And Purdue's games against Illinois Chicago Saturday and Sunday were canceled due to the weather. The 17-2 Boilermakers host 11-8 Michigan in a 3-game Big Ten series starting Friday at 4. To softball, IU lost its second straight one-run game, 6-5 to Iowa on Sunday. Like Saturday, the Hawkeyes jumped out to a big lead, 6-1 this time, before the Hoosiers fought back to get within a run, but couldn't finish the job. Taylor Minnick had a pair of doubles, and Avery Parker homered for the 19-7 Hoosiers. They are in South Bend to face 12-15 Notre Dame on Tuesday. Purdue was swept by UCLA. The Bruins beat the Boilermakers 7-5 on Sunday in LA to finish off the sweep. Chloe Banks went 2 for 4 with a triple. Mariah Puller drove in 2, and Sage Scarmardo went 2 for 4 and scored twice for the Boilermakers. Purdue faces Wisconsin on Thursday and Friday, and Maryland on Saturday and Sunday in Oklahoma City. And former Frankton star McKenna Alexander hit her 7th home run of the season to help Butler beat Providence 9-6 on Sunday. Coming up on a slow Monday before things really get heated up later in the week, the Pacers are in Minnesota to face the Timberwolves. The Pacers are 37-29, 5th in the East, a half game behind Milwaukee for 4th. They're just 8-8 in their last 16 games. Minnesota is 40-29, tied for 6th in the West. They've won 8 games in a row. The game is scheduled for 8 o'clock. Also, 11-5 Taylor softball hosts 9-6 Spring Arbor in a doubleheader Monday in Upland. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. Thank you so much for listening. We always appreciate it. If you're interested in seeing the Central Indiana Sports Report continue to grow and thrive, please share these episodes with your friends and family. We thank you as always. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.